Part 2. Then we had Dolph Ziggler versus Jimmy Wang Yang. This was a pretty good match. It was kind of good to see Dolph Ziggler as a favourite in a match. Usually he's the underdog heel who has to try and sneak a win. But in this match he's actually the favourite. You know he's going to beat Jimmy Wang Yang. He starts off doing that whole shake my hand thing. I was just thinking his gimmick really wouldn't work in Ring of Honor. They'd just be like, well, of course. You know? But yeah, this is fairly good. Jimmy Wang Yang just kicks his hand away. Then Dolph Ziggler dominates him. He hits her a beautiful overhead reverse suplex, a reverse T-bone, I suppose it would be. Yeah, then he's quite aggressive. He rather optimistically expects Jimmy Wang Yang to tap out to a really weak full Nelson. Then Jimmy Wang Yang comes back into it. He hits some nice kicks, but his timing goes a bit off towards the end. He clearly misses with one, and then he goes for a moonsault, but Dolph Ziggler is literally nowhere near him when he does it. The timing was just totally wrong on that. But in the end, Dolph Ziggler hits what I can only assume is his finishing move, which is sort of a reverse pay dirt. Pay dirt, only the back of the head hits the ground, which is, you know, fair enough. That's good. And yeah, then the Great Khali comes out, and Bobby asked me earlier this week, are they really planning to do a proper feud between Dolph Ziggler and the Great Khali? Yes, they are, Bobby. I'm not sure how successful it's going to be, but they are. And Dolph Ziggler, Great Khali manhandles him briefly, then Dolph Ziggler scrambles to the back. Then we get SmackDown's worst draft acquisition, Crime Time. Literally everything they've been involved in so far on SmackDown has been terrible, and this was no exception. Here they just incite Eve Torres so she attacks Layla by pouring some white powder over Layla's head. I can only assume it's cocaine. And then her and Layla fight for a bit till Crime Time separate them. Then we have a rematch from last week between R-Truth and Mike Knox, at which point I'm just praying, please don't make R-Truth job again. Please put him over here. And, you know, this was fairly good. It was really short, but, you know, I'm happy about it, obviously, because R-Truth went over. And I was happy about it right from the start, because Mike Knox was dominating. I was like, great, Mike Knox is dominating. He's probably not going to win. I can't really remember what Knox did. He did a big boot, a really nice big boot, and he also did a catapult catapulted R-Truth into the bottom rope. R-Truth did a beautiful, soaring, leaping crossbody over the top rope, just really good. And also a wonderful float over. He does the greatest float overs in the corner, and then does splits and does the kick. He wins it with a spinning elbow. It's a great move. Is it a finishing move? I'm not sure. Did it connect this time? I'm also not sure, but it was close enough, and who cares? R-Truth got the win. Glad to see that. Decent match. Then we got a Rey Mysterio promo. He calls Jericho arrogant, egotistical, and deceitful in Spanish. And then he says Jericho doesn't get respect because he hasn't earned it. I think he has earned it, but sure. And finally says at Judgment Day, Jericho won't have to worry about the conspiracy he was talking about earlier. He'll just have to worry about the 619. You know, Rey Mysterio's never going to be that good at promo, but fair enough. Then we had JR and Todd Grisham whoring Judgment Day in the ring. Just, you know how Michael Cole and the King did on Raw, just standing in the middle of the ring going, at Judgment Day, Batista, the Animal, takes on, you know, you're just like, this is not the way to sell a pay-per-view. It just looks weird. I don't like it. But whatever. Then we had the main event, made earlier by Teddy Long, Edge versus Chris Jericho. JR earlier in the night dubbed it as the Ego Bowl, which I thought was a very good way of describing it. This was a good match, as you'd expect. This was an interesting match as well, because it's interesting to see two heels wrestle each other. You don't get to see that all that often. They start off kind of aggressive, sort of doing mounted punches, and then they start throwing each other into barricades and ring posts and steel steps and all that sort of stuff. Main event wrestling, basically, is what you'd call it. as we go to the break, they're both up on the top turnbuckle and they both fall off, which I always think is kind of a nice way to go to the break. Then there's a great bit illustrating how odd it is to see two heels wrestle each other. They both try to steal a victory by using the ring ropes for leverage in a pin attempt, which was kind of funny. And yeah, you know, this is just a good match. Jericho goes for the lion salt, lands on his feet, but pretends he's twinged his knee, so Edge instantly goes for the sharpshooter. Jericho gets out of it, and then he goes for the walls of Jericho. Edge hits the spear, and Jericho goes rolling out of the ring, which I always kind of feel is a slight no-sell, but you know, it's become more acceptable. When you don't want them to no-sell your finishing move by kicking out, you get them to no-sell it by just rolling out of the ring. Jericho comes back in with a chair and gets DQ'd. He doesn't hit Edge. Edge gets the advantage of this. So Edge actually came out looking reasonably strong from this bit, I thought. And he's about to concerto Chris Jericho when Jeff Hardy runs out. And Jeff Hardy attacks Edge. He hits the twist of fate onto the steel chair. Then he attacks Jericho and leaps onto him. At which point CM Punk's music plays, and it's just getting really exciting by the end. So Punk teases a cash-in, and I think we all know it's not going to happen, but it's still cool to see. And then Umaga shows up, and Punk hits him with the briefcase a few times, and then does a lovely flying crossbody onto him over the top rope. Earlier in the night, they were talking about Punk Umaga, and they were just like, we just don't know why Umaga's signaling out CM Punk. And I was like, wow, it was better than when Umaga had a manager and someone could actually tell us why he was doing things rather than just being totally random. But anyway, Punk and Umaga and Edge and Jeff Hardy fight into the crowd. Then Jericho's smirking on the ramp, about to walk away, and Rey Mysterio comes out and attacks him. So we have these 6 guys fighting as we go off air. And that is the way to sell a pay-per-view. Not JR and Todd Grisham standing in the ring telling us what matches are going to be. That was really entertaining, kind of exciting, just, you know, totally unpredictable, and just really good. I enjoyed that, and it makes me look forward to Judgment Day, and particularly SmackDown's contributions. So, yeah. Anyway, that's the end of my show. Feel free to rate, comment, just give your views, and subscribe if you wish. I'm sorry this is going out a bit late, but things are a little bit hectic now. They should calm down in a few days. So, okay. I will see you for a Judgment Day review, actually. Okay, bye.